Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Manifestation Real Talk. I love Manifestation Real Talk, and I love my guest, who is Sanjula Mansingh. She is a manifestation life coach. We were talking earlier about what's your title? What's your title? And we could call her law of attraction, but it's not just that, and that's what I adore, is that you embrace you understand that there's not just one way of manifestation. And I love that you teach that. I love that. I love that. I love that. But before we dive into all that, because Sanjula and I are very good friends, we've been friends for a long time now. And so it's easy for us and me to get, she gives me the permission, as I said a minute ago to her, to fly my freak flag very high. It's getting lighter, it's getting darker, the clouds are out, and we really have such a great time diving deep. But today's all about Sanjula. I want to just really bring her out to the world, because when it comes to life coaches, you have this gentle, allowing, just such an easy way about you. You make manifestation so easy and so delightful, and you're so good at celebrating everybody's unique way of doing it. I adore that about you. But before I go on, I'm just going to let you talk. Go ahead and introduce yourself, and whatever feels good.
Thank you so much for such a beautiful introduction. Thank you so much, Kristen. I feel so loved, so adored by you. And I feel the same about you. Like, you give everyone who gets to interact with you the space to expand to their best selves, to their highest selves, to their most powerful selves. So every conversation I have with you, you make me expand to that version of me, to make me expand my understanding of how powerful I am, what a creator I am. Like, as we were discussing these terms, life coach or a manifestation coach, that seems so small when we step into that part of who we are. When we naturally create this reality, we naturally create magic around us. So I love being with you, I love talking to you, and I just love our friendship. I was just really thinking about it, that it seems like just a few months ago when I heard you on one of those a podcast, that, let's say, Abraham Fun, where you were talking about your trip, where you were on that trip that you were going out and just being around in the world. And it felt so sweet to me that, our connection kind of started from that. And here we are, like, really powerfully expanding each other, and having this table tennis or tennis match, as we call it, expanding each other. So yeah, that's what I love to do. I love to talk about manifestation. I love to help people understand how manifestation is not like a trick, it's not a tool, it's just what everyone does automatically, and everyone has their own way of understanding it. Everyone has their own way, quote unquote, way of manifesting things in their life. But the bottom line is, everyone is powerful, everyone is magical, everyone can create the most magical life that they deserve, and everyone is worthy of that. So I love to talk to people about it at whatever level of understanding they have, at whatever terms they want to play with. I love to play with them and expand them into believing that they deserve, and whatever desire they have is done, and then they can have it. And yeah, that's what I do. I have workshops, I have sessions, and I have amazing podcasts like these with Kristen. And here today, we're going to have Manifestation Real Talk. So I'm very excited about just diving into what that is.
Well, and I love that, for Sanjula, who's in India, different areas, I've watched you bebop around. It feels like, to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it feels like, like manifestation, law of attraction stuff, it's not as big a well known over there as you might find in like the US and stuff, and maybe
Yeah.
Europe.
I think it's catching up now, like in general. I think because of social media, it's so common now that people talk about it, but still, it's not like, that something that you talk on a daily basis to someone. It's not something that you would hear in a normal conversation. So it is kind of picking up, but we do have a lot of spiritual beliefs. In India, India is very spiritual that way. We have so many religions. So again, manifestation is just another way of being a creator. It's just another way of understanding that we are creators. So people have their faiths, people have that religion. I know so many people who would say, on that church, when I went to this Mary's church and I did this thing, I got the things that I desired. When I did this ritual, this Hindu ritual, when I did all of that, I got exactly what I desired. But it's just another thing that people play with, that I do this, then I get my desires. So I think people have that concept of faith, of something magical happening in the world, but the idea of manifestation, that we are the creators, not something else. Even manifestation that way, as we were talking about these tools and tricks, us being bigger than that, I think that's still a concept that all of us are playing with.
That's
Yet to really
that,
understand.
yes.
Yeah.
Because recently I was in one of Sanjula's workshops, and it was just so much fun to watch her in her element. And one of the biggest things you said that really moved me is nothing is bigger than you. And
Mhm.
in that moment, I mean, that was my whole weekend right there. I had a whole theme going that weekend about nothing is bigger than you. And it made me kind of like go, I know this, I teach,
Mhm.
and yet it really kathunked for me, because it made me realize, okay, well, this and this and this over here is not bigger than me, but this is. And
Mm.
and I realized manifestation, we make manifestation bigger than us.
Yeah.
And I was just like, yes, I love that that was such a big part of your workshop.
Hmm. Because it was a big part of what I recently realized as well. Like, I played with it a couple of times, where things that we think are bigger than us, phenomenons that are bigger than us, situations that are out of our control, things, companies that are bigger than us, institutions that are bigger than us, that we kind of have just kind of subconsciously somewhere accepted that this is bigger than us. And then when it came to my desire, which kind of clashed with that belief, then I had to, of course, change that. Like, oh no, I am bigger than this. I am bigger than this entire situation, than these people, than this institution, than whatever. I'm bigger than even a country. I'm bigger than the world. Like, you can expand to that. Like, that's the meditation we did together, right? That you guided
Yeah.
us, that we are bigger than all of this. We are bigger than any natural calamity, any kind of, we're bigger than all of that. But it's important to come back to that. And it just is such a powerful place to play with, because everything feels like, this is mine. This is, I can play with these toys, so to say, right? Like when you used to play with Barbie sets and everything, it has a kitchen and whatnot. It's like, these things that I know in life, these are smaller than I am, and I can just move it around and rearrange it as per what my desire is. And that's what I wanted to also make people believe in, because that's true. That really is true.
And you are such an amazing example of it, of course. So Sanjula has had just this year alone, she's just had the most whirlwind, oh my gosh, manifesting her dream wedding,
Mhm.
her in the dream location, and the dream job for her husband. And but it all was so much fun.
Mhm.
And that's one thing that Sanjal and I really do well together, is seeing the fun within each of
Mhm.
these amazing things we do, and
Yeah.
and then talking about it, going, oh my gosh, I came up against these roadblocks, and I'm just like, no, and
No.
the so one of the things was, Sanjala had her wedding and I'm going to let her tell the story, but and being told left and right, no, 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 you can't have your wedding here. No, that this is only for the elite of the elite, and because your husband is an Indian, and no, 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 and she's just like, you say what you want. I'm having my wedding here. And it was just got so much bigger than that, right? It wasn't
It was
just
so
you
nice.
having the wedding, all the fun little synchronicities and serendipitous situations. It was so awesome. But talk about the magic of that.
So I have to say that, so the basis of this entire thing is that, so my husband, he's not Indian, he's from a different country, he's German. And I come from an army background. So my dad has been in the army, he's retired now, and my upbringing has always been in army, military areas, very well developed, areas where you have everything that you can ask for. And I've basically grown in that. And we kept moving every 2 years, or every 2 or 3 years. So my association with a house or a home has always been any army area. And there's one place in particular where we currently stay in that town. I don't know, it was my teen years and I had the most fun there. And we currently have a house there. So I had this beautiful connection with this place. There's just so much nature there. And it's more than that, it's just something magical. Whenever I go there, I really feel a sense of belonging. And there's this beautiful golf course. This one time we had gone there, and it just felt like this is a great place to get married. This is like a really, this feels like home. So in India, usually traditionally, the wedding would happen at the girl's house, in the girl's home. So that's like the traditional thing. So I said, this is my home, so to say. And I remember I was discussing this with my mom, and both of us, we just kind of went in like this trance-like state where were daydreaming, but it felt so real that we saw that this is happening there. It was like the two of us were in the same moment, watching the same daydream, and we were just adding on to each other, like whatever she's seeing from that side of the daydream and whatever I'm seeing from this side of the daydream, we're just, talking about it and expanding on it, and it was real right in that moment. And I felt like this is where it's going to be, this is how it's going to be. And at that time, when we shared this, so I'm being very fun and playful with all of this. And when this one time when I mentioned it to my father, who served in the army, who also served in the military intelligence, which is the part which looks into if foreigners are coming into certain areas and they're not allowed or whatever. So he worked in that, and he was like, that is out of the question. That's not going to happen. That's not possible. So he straight away said that's ridiculous. And for me, that was such a contrast to what I was thinking to be true, and someone coming and saying that that's not going to happen. That's like not possible at all. And then again, as Kristen and I were discussing, there's always this choice. What are you going to believe in? Where are you going to play with? So that part of me could be like, I actually don't know nothing. Like, he's the one who served in the army. He's the one who knows better. This is like, he knows better. So it can't happen. And then this other part of me, which is bigger than anything else, this part of me, which is the creator manifester, that's the invitation to play. And sometimes we play with both the things. Sometimes we have that desire and we also have our doubt, but it's just like, where's the fun, right? Like we were discussing, where is it exciting? Where is it like, meaningful? Where is it fun? So anyways, I was like, no, this can't be. I have to make this happen. Not make this happen, I have to see this through. So the first the first thing that happened in the series of coincidences is that one of my brother's friend was visiting us. They were just roaming around and having fun and everything, and his dad was also in the army, and his dad was currently serving in the military intelligence. So by chance, my brother mentioned to him that, yeah, my sister really wants to get married here, but my dad says it can't happen. And like, just the coincidence of this all, my dad said this won't happen. His friend comes to visit. Then his friend says, oh, wait a second, my dad recently just gave permission to some French person who's getting married to an Indian Army officer's daughter in an army camp. He may know something. I will just ask him to talk, and give more information about this. So I was like, okay. When my brother told me about this, and I was like, okay, now things are on track. This is my doing. This is the next step that I've, created, manifested. So I knew I had to jump in. And I also knew that I have to do this. It's not that I have to tell my dad to talk to that person. I have to go and do this thing. And I talked to him, and I still have the message. He was like, I called him and I told him everything. And he was like, yeah, Sanjula, don't worry. So he knew me because my brother and his son are really good friends since childhood. So he knew me, and he was like, Sanjula, congratulations on the wedding that's going to happen and everything. Don't worry, we'll take care of it. These are the steps that you have to do, and it'll be done. And he was just like completely opposite of what my dad's energy was. Like, it's like, yeah, like, it's just like, of course, this is going to happen. And right there, it was like, okay, I get it. This is happening and this is going to happen. So that's when the ball started rolling, because I was like, I told my dad about it. He was like, he doesn't know anything. Because he's currently serving. My dad was convinced he doesn't know anything. So now what happened is that my dad now, instead of being stopped in that place that this can't happen, he started speaking to other people that he knew, people who were senior to him, who also their children had this intercontinental kind of a wedding. So the people, so he spoke to a couple of them, and they also said, well, we tried, but it didn't happen. So we just had the wedding in some other venue. We booked a resort, we booked a hotel, and we did it there. And one of them was more senior in post from my dad. My dad is currently retired, and the other one was more senior, serving still in the army, and even he didn't get the permission. So that became a big block for him, because he was like, this person was senior to me and was serving, even he didn't get permission to get his daughter married in the army area, whatever. This is not possible for me. Anyway, another thing, I was like, whatever. Like, I am not going to listen to that. But then what I would do also, I would walk around that area and I would just feel that this is my place. This is not an army institution that is bigger than me. And that was the reframing of how I saw it that happened in my mind. Because as a kid, I also always looked up to this. Okay, this military institute, this army institution that is bigger than me. There's so many hierarchies. There's the army chief, and I'm someone's daughter. Like, there's this whole thing, and this place is not made for my wedding. It's made for military march past. It's made for operations or whatnot, and it's not about me. So I had to change that thing, and that was my how I saw it before. And now it's like, no, I am, the creator. I'm bigger than this. This belongs to me. This is mine, and I get to decide. No one is bigger than me. And so when I started having that conversation in my own head, when I realized that, okay, this was bigger than me, I had to change it. Then it started just shifting, because I felt so welcomed by this place. I felt like the trees want the wedding to be there, these buildings want the wedding to be there, the officers want the wedding to be there, the soldiers want the wedding to be there. So that kind of reframing happened. and and it was so interesting because the officer, my brother's friend's father, he started reaching out. He's like, okay, let's get this started. Let's start doing the things. Let's, get the application started. And so my dad, still having his doubts, he started moving. So that was a big thing, because he had to send in the application. From him being completely like, this can't happen, I won't do it, let's look at other places, he started the application, still fully doubtful. And uh, then there's just so many people who came in. This one time, Thomas had also come over. We had a dinner party somewhere, and one of the officers who was there, who had such a great time talking to Thomas, he was also serving in the military intelligence currently. So he was also part of the same circle. Like, the application that has to go through, he would be one of the people who would just go through the application and approve it also. And he loved Thomas. He loved just the fact that we were together and dating and wanting to get married. So he was also like, I'm also going to help out. Don't worry, we'll look into it. We'll take care of it. So there are just levels and levels of application. So this is the institution where it's going to happen. The senior most person here, he's someone we also know. He was like, so don't worry, Sanjula, we'll do the best from our side. We'll send in the application. Like, I spoke to him also personally. And he's like, all the guest rooms will be available for your guests. All the things will be available. Don't worry. Where do you want them to be and all that? Like, the VIP of the army people who come there, these guest rooms are for them. But my family gets to be there, or Thomas's family gets to be there. So from this level, everything was fine. From the second level, one of my dad's course mate, he was the army commander. So there are only 3 army commanders in the Indian Army right now, and he's one of them. And he really also was like, don't worry, this will be taken care of. Let's just do it. And on every level, there were people who were just like, the level here, where the application is getting sent, it's going to be done. The level in the center, it's going to be done. Everyone at the military intelligence, it's going to be done. And it's just like, all these people, I didn't have to do anything. Like, I didn't have to convince anyone. I didn't have to do that. I just had that vision that I am bigger than this, and they're all working for me, and they're all working for this desire that I have. And of course it happened. Of course it happened. In fact, the place that we wanted, the venue itself was also going through a big renovation. So it even was looking even better just before a wedding. It just became even better. And in fact, the army commander was one of the guests for the wedding. So that really ramped up even the military establishment. They were like, okay, the army commander is coming for the event. So everything in that army area has to become better, and we have to host him. So at every level, everyone was helping and everyone wanted it to be good. And things like there was this chariot kind of that when we have these parades, these very, these are parades that you show off, like the military acumen and all of those things. The main chief of honor, they enter the parade on that chariot. They're ridden alongside another senior officer, and that chariot was booked for Thomas, like for just for our wedding celebration, because it's part of the Indian tradition that the groom comes on a horse. So he, instead of the horse, he had this full chariot. So things like that, and all the soldiers, they all knew that something crazy is happening, this event. And that place, that venue, nothing had happened before. Like over a couple of years since COVID, no big event had happened, like nothing, not even a social event. And then suddenly this grand wedding is happening there. And everyone, this was the talk of the town for the longest time. And still till now, when people, get to know that I'm Colonel Mansingh's daughter, like it was like, this was Colonel Mansingh's daughter's wedding. Um, Everyone knew about it and everyone was so excited. And I can't believe that it happened, but that the small part of me that's being like, I can't believe that happened. But the other part of me is like, of course, that happened. And I created every part of it. And the point at which it happened, I didn't feel at all that this magical feeling that, oh my god, this is happening in this venue. It was like, no, this venue is working for me. Like, it's the venue is just part of the team which is helping me have this amazing wedding. So there it got normalized. So like it was so like normal. Of course, this is my venue. And yeah, I love that place, and I love that it happened there. And I just love that so many people fell in line to make this happen for me. This is amazing. So yeah, like something that felt so big for me, that institution and all, it's just like, no, I get to decide, and I get to play with that every time. All of us get to play with that. So it's just anyone who's thinking about something is bigger than me, a city is bigger than me. In one of the workshops that we just had, there are a lot of people who were like, okay, I've shifted to this new city and I want to feel more comfortable in the city. I don't know this place yet. Again, you are bigger than that, and that city can work for you. If you're a new company or you're wanting to be in, have a certain job or something, no, you are bigger than that. And of course, there's that childlike fascination with something that's bigger than you. But when you want something and it is like clashing somewhere, that you feel like, no, 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 I am not that great that I can have that. Like, this is only reserved for whoever you think in your mind. You can always switch that. It's always available, and it's all in here. It's all in yourself, and it does reflect in your reality, and amazing things happen. Magical things happen. People out of nowhere just show up in your life. People that you didn't even know. Like, so many people now know me that even I didn't know. Like, so many people worked on this wedding that who know about me, but I never met them before. But they just were like, wow. So yeah.
Yeah, I was saying during the workshop, that was one of my favorite stories, is that I think it was 2 days later, you're out riding your bike around and there's people talking about it, and they don't know you're the one that got married. You're the colonel's daughter that, oh my gosh, the superstar. And they're just like going, yeah, this happened here. Like they're telling you something new. And you're just
Yeah.
like, oh.
Okay, interesting. Like, yeah, I'm just in my just like simple track pants and on my, on my bike, and they wouldn't have visualized at all. I didn't want to break that bubble where they were like, they were telling me about this amazing event that happened here, that old Colonel Mansingh's daughter got married. I was like, oh, good to know. Okay, nice. Okay. Before he starts asking me more questions.
I
Uh,
love that you didn't want to break that bubble.
exactly. So yeah, that's me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ah,
that's what
uh,
happens.
it's so, God, it's so, I love that you were saying, even the trees wanted you to get married there. You know, you could just feel how the entire reality was
Yeah,
just yours.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
Now, do you feel like you knew that all along, or was there any effort, or was it just gentle? I mean, all the
it
above.
I think it was more gentle, but there was an inner knowing. So I think what I've also seen in a lot of people that I work with, that the reality is too real to keep believing in the dream that you have. It's like you're getting constant reminders that people are saying this can't happen, this is too difficult, whatever, and it's right in your face. But again, it's just so delicious to go in that place of faith. Like I was also in that place. I also came to a point where when it wasn't about that ego thing. It wasn't like, I have to make this happen. I have to, if this doesn't happen here, then there's a problem. Then, because we can also put again up our desires on a pedestal and be like, if I don't have this, then, I'm defined by this desire. If I have this, then I get to prove to myself, I get to prove to someone else, I get to do whatever. So I didn't have that self-worth attached to it, that, I need this to happen for me to feel like I am this and that. But so like at that point I was like, it's okay if like when my dad was really saying, no, this can't happen, we have to look at other alternatives. I was like, okay, if it really you want to think about other alternatives, that's fine, but I know that they won't work out because I know this is working out. But so it can, this reality can be very real, but it, you have to just that soft desire, that soft feeling that was there, that is always there in the beginning. The first time you ever thought of this desire is always so free, it's always so fun, it's so soft, it's so sweet, it's so like gentle and cute, and you just like appreciate it so much, whatever that desire is, before you start, have those doubts and whatever. So but that is always available, that's always available to go to, it's right there. And that's when I spent a lot of time being in. So I would go for, I love being in that place, so I would go there for walks often. I just because that's what I usually do anyway. So when I would be walking around, I would again play with that feeling that this place loves me. It's not just that I love this place loves me. So it's there. And so I would look around at the guest rooms and be like, how would that feel like if I just knew that these are booked for whatever, this is booked for my guests and everything. So that always felt so good. And so I played with that much, much more than I played with how is this going to happen. Like it was crazy how close it was to the wedding till we didn't know if the venue is there or not. It was like, I think 10 days or something.
I
It was
hate
so
that.
close. And but I knew it. I still knew it. I was like there's also this belief that this is something better. Like I will never be disappointed, like that kind of a thing, that it will only be better. So, but I remember this point where we went one afternoon to look at the venue for decor and everything. So these discussions are happening about where the decor would be, where the food would be, and everything. And we still haven't received the permission letter, so or official communication. And Thomas and I were there, and he was like, all of that is great, but we don't have the permission yet. I was like, oh yeah, that. But in that moment, it was like this really nice. It was afternoon, like the sun was kind of setting, and there was beautiful glow all around, and there was just ringing inside of me that this, that this is the place. I love this place, and it was only waiting for my decision. So that was another thing, that it wasn't waiting for permission from anyone else. It was that final permission that I had to give myself, and I had to give that place that this is going to happen. And literally the next day, Papa got that message that, yeah, this is it. And the moment he told me, I was just jumping in just joy, and I knew it. And he also started laughing, but like he was just also happy in disbelief, also like this
I
crazy
love
thing
that.
that this one thought of, and now it's happened. It's right here. And I remember he was just recently telling someone who had come over. He's like, I didn't think it would happen till the end. I didn't believe that this could happen, but it happened here. And like even after that, so many people who like the other officers and all who got married, they all would ask them, how did this happen, how did you get it, get this to be here. But yeah.
Oh my God, that was powerful what you just said about it was waiting for you. It was
Mm-hmm,
waiting for your permission. Oh,
mm-hmm.
that is huge. Broke my brain.
Yeah.
Hey, you're still talking and I'm still back on that going,
Back on it.
whoa. I know
Yeah,
you know that well.
but it is true, right? It's only our permission that we are waiting for, that life is waiting for every time.
Yeah, yeah. That ease. Well, I always go back to the ease of the sun
Mm,
rising and
mm,
how, it's not even a permission. It's just that solid knowing the sun's rising. It just
yeah,
is. It just
yeah.
is. There's no other option here. And even if there's a middle of a storm, the sun is behind those clouds. You just know. It's not like, oh, well, the sun went somewhere else in the universe today.
Yeah.
It went off on a trip. It just, oh, and yeah, it's like, how many things are we being double-minded about, we being wishy-washy? And oh, I love that. I love that the moment you were like, oh, this is waiting for my permission.
Hmm.
This is what, nobody else's permission. Nobody else to
Yeah,
sign on the dot. It was waiting for me to sign on the dot.
exactly.
Oh, that was huge. That was beautiful. Oh,
Love that because I do play with that a lot now because it's always like you're the end permission. Like you remember we were discussed about it, that any permission slip that you're talking about, it's you. It's basically
yeah,
you.
yeah,
And so anything that we think is bigger than us, we can play with that because maybe that's more familiar with that. Oh, I don't know, this is huge. Going to Germany or going to, having this crazy job offer for my husband, like that is big.
it's
Like,
so good.
so things like that, like, those are big. But again, it's like you decide. No, I am deciding. It really is, Kristen. Like life
Yeah,
is really about what you decide, and it will play with you at whatever level you're comfortable playing with. That, okay, this is what I accept, this is fun. And the moment you decide, I want something more, I want something different, I want something better, no one's done it before, no one's seen it before, I've never had this before, or I had it before and I messed up or whatever. But you can decide that I'm just gonna go for it. I'm just gonna go for it. And I've decided because it feels right. It feels good. It feels true to me. I'm not having a desire just for the sake of something, but it feels true to me. This is who I
yeah,
am going to be. And like abundance looks like something different for everyone. Love looks like something different for everyone. So whatever, when you say that this is true for me, I know this is my genuine desire because it feels light and fun and all these amazing things, it will happen. Things will show up. Amazing, crazy things will show up. So yeah, that's what I love to play with. There's this space, right? There's this space before you get something, you get that final confirmation. That's the space where the confirmation is waiting for you to make up your mind that, yeah, this is mine. I'm deciding, I'm claiming it, I'm owning it,
yeah.
that this is me. And this is what I want.
Oh, so good. So good. It's so we could say it's powerful, but it's not. It's such an easy space. I think
Mm-hmm.
we look for something to be big, and it's not. It's just this gentle knowing of, oh,
Mm-hmm.
it's just waiting for me. It's just waiting for
Yeah.
me to say that.
And that's so interesting to play with because the things that we've been waiting on, you could just look at it with that perspective. Oh, it's actually waiting for me. I have to decide. Like so many people are like, I'm waiting for this person to do this. I'm waiting for this person to show up. I'm waiting for this thing, whatever. Waiting for my, I don't know, my job to be this or a recruiter to reach out. I'm waiting for my bank account to reflect this. And all these things we say, but it's actually just us waiting to be that, us waiting to own that I'm decided for it. And then, of course, it will reflect that.
Yeah, I'm
So,
waiting for that phone call, all that.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Don't want a phone call, you don't want a phone call. It won't happen. Like, it is what it is. I've
Yeah.
done that also. Like, it plays with small things as well. You don't want a meeting, you just say, ah, today I just want to sleep. And it works out. It doesn't
Yeah.
happen. It one thing or the other happens.
Careful.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. I want California to be a lot more wet. Ooh, be careful. Guess what I got? Woo, in bucket loads. Outrageous. And it's so funny. For you guys that don't know this, last year I was telling Sanjula that I've decided, because I live in Southern California, that is notoriously known for droughts and
Mm,
being a desert and being dry. And um And I told her, I was like, I'm not accepting that anymore. I've decided California's going to be tropical. It's going to be very wet. And boom, we started getting, and this was in the summer, we started getting these monsoonal downpours, just
Wow.
outrageous, just crazy. And it wasn't just, California's used to one event and then that's it, and then 20 years later, we get another one. And oh my God, it was one after another, one after another, one after another. And then the winter came in and the prediction was for a dry winter. And I'm like, nuh-uh. Nuh-uh. You don't know who you're messing with here. And oh my gosh, we of course, and the monsoon is continuing. It's this, they're calling it an atmospheric river.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, and this atmospheric river is just dumping unprecedented amounts of moisture all over California. And we were getting monsoon rains, and then like 5 minutes later it's snowing, dumping snow, and then it's like rain, and I'm just like going, wow, I really need to be careful what I do with my power. But it, and there's a joking aspect to that, where
Yeah.
they're like, be careful what you pray for and stuff.
Yeah.
But to really step in and go, yeah, I did this. I'm
Mhm.
still doing it. And,
Mhm.
having my windows completely covered behind under a
Yeah.
wall of snow. But the experiences, oh, I just love it. But
Mhm.
going back to you saying what you said about how it's just waiting for you to step into the space of ownership
Mhm.
of this is mine. I love that. Go for it. I love that, because and go ahead, please.
I mean, also with so from our desire from me and my husband, that another manifestation, so to say, was we wanted to be in India. So that was another thing. A lot of people like, oh, why aren't you going to Germany? Like, oh, okay, he's coming to India. That's interesting. And what I knew, and again, this goes beyond logic. It goes beyond what you've seen. It's very about being true to yourself, what you are convinced of, what you believe to be true, what you believe would. It just rings somewhere, like it rings true. So I knew that he's amazing at what he does, and I knew that he only belongs in a very good company. He only belongs, and he people will be just like, wanting to have him here. So I knew that it's going to be easy. But so that's another aspect where a lot of people ask about how to be part of someone else's manifestation. Like if someone else has that kind of belief that this is difficult, this might not happen. Like again, like my dad, who was like, no, this might not happen. This can't happen. Not might not. This can't happen. Move on. So for my husband, it was more like, this is difficult. This is not common. And so of course you got evidence of that. You see that, you witness that. But then it was always about coming back to this knowing. And I also had another moment of where I felt like he was getting under pressure that it doesn't seem like it would work out. So I was also like, well, I don't mind also going to Germany. Like again, it's not attached to myself. It's not like I have to make this happen. I have to, like, there's no attachment in that sense that I have to prove something to myself, because it's that feeling. It's a feeling of what you really want. I wanted to be in India, and I wanted us to have a good life. I wanted him to have a job that really feels good to him. And I know if this is not happening now, then we have something even better, and this will have its own space and it will happen whenever. Like I know that it's a very deep knowing that everything is going well. So when so there was just these series of amazing manifestations. So because of visas or whatever, he traveled 3 times before we got married last year. So the first time before he came to India, he was having a hard time figuring out this whole how to get a job in India. And it was not like he was not getting the right response. And he was getting very frustrated. I was like, it's okay, just come to India. Let's just like meet up. And the restrictions after COVID had just finally lifted. So he could come to India after a very long time. So like just let's be here and have fun and be together and whatever. And we did that. And it was so beautiful. It was so fun. And by the end of it, he two things happened. There was another thing about our court wedding that was also a long process that started on its own, that kind of had its own momentum. It picked up, and he got a message from Amazon. I think he got that kind of a first reach out from a recruiter. I was like, wow, this is crazy, because that had not happened so far at all. And out of nowhere, it wasn't like, he was really applying there or trying, it just happened out of nowhere while we were having fun. Then he returned to Germany. Then it was kind of like not working out. And then the second time, so now it's so many things happened last year, as you said. Like, I'm forgetting the exact timeline, but the second time he traveled again, so the thing with Amazon didn't work out, but he got a message from Google. A recruiter reached out to him, and in between that time, there was a moment where I was like, okay, if this doesn't work out, it's fine. We can go to Germany. But this was the last time he was like, yeah, okay, I get that. I wanted to support him, of course. I don't want him, again, nothing is attached, that self-worth is not attached to anything. I was like, it's fine. We can go to Germany. There's no problem. So he was like, okay, this is the last push that I really want to get into it and really want to do it. So I was like, yay, let's do it. And he got reached out by a recruiter, and I, there was this point in Kristen when I had this desire that I wanted to go back to that actually. Before we started with any of that process, I thought somewhere that this would happen on its own. I wouldn't have to worry about it. It's something between Thomas and his job and in India. I don't have to look into this entire recruitment process or something. But there was this one point where I realized that, oh no, I have to be involved. This is my creation. Like, there was something like that. I will have more fun being involved than not involved. That's another thing. I feel like so many things just happen out of nowhere. Like, we manifest things around that. Oh, I was
Yeah.
thinking about it and it just happened. And there are desires where you're really, moving along the path. And I realized that's those manifestations happen. It feels longer because you're part and you're involved with it. You're part of it. It's because it's fun. And the other ones that just happen instantly, you won't have as much fun in the path of that manifesting. It's just more fun that it appears out of nowhere. But those that you're actually moving through, that's what is fun. So I realized long time ago, before we, shifted last year, that, oh, I'm going to be a part of this. I realized that this is how it's going to play out. And that's when I was looking into, alongside him, what are the opportunities? Where can we be? And I was also thinking in that direction and started focusing in that direction for the first time, and it was all fun. Like, it was like a new thing to think about that feels fun and juicy and exciting. So I was also just there with him the entire process. And yeah, and he cleared the interview process. He got through Google, and that was amazing because, and the part of which is crazy is that he started with the entry level position, because he was like, anything is good. Let me just like apply and let me just get through and let me have that first conversation. So he really applied at the entry level, and I knew he's brilliant and really smart. So when the recruiter reached out to him, they automatically kind of upgraded the position that what he had applied for was a lower level, and what they were considering him was for a higher level. And now, when he had the final conversation with the team that he was matching with, they were talking on another level altogether, like a different software level engineer. And he was really surprised. He was not sure. He was like, I know that they are considering me for a different level, but the manager was talking about a whole, further ahead. So I was like, maybe let's see. And when the offer letter came, it was for, a higher position. And he was just like mind blown when the offer letter came, and it was so amazing. And when I remember seeing the offer letter, I was also so emotional, because it was like a confirmation again of what I knew. I knew that I knew this exists, this is going to happen, and this is what he deserves. He's really good at it, and this is what Google is lucky to have. So, another thing was that once you get an offer letter, it's always recommended to have a negotiation to kind of talk, expand on the terms, or expand for the salary or for stocks or whatever. And he was again like, I'm just happy to be here. I'm happy to for him. So he also had this whole journey of believing in himself, believing in this crazy thing that can happen, that can exist in India. To say that this is possible in Germany in itself is also a big thing, but to believe that this is available in India, like as a foreigner, is a whole new thing to expand your belief in.
Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway, so the recruiter who was with him throughout the journey, he was like, "Do you not want to negotiate?" He's like, "No, I'm happy with it." He's like, "Well, I've done it many times for other people, and I want you to have a nice start in India. So let me do the negotiation with the hiring committee for you, and I'll just like have little perks for you here and there. And he expanded his entire package. He had to do nothing. He had to do nothing.
Oh my gosh.
And it was just served in a
Isn't
platter
it?
for us.
It's Shruti who says that you've got the connection. So, so one of Sanjula's clients, she believes that if you tell Sanjula what you want, Sanjula has the gives the magic message to
Yeah.
whoever out there, heaven or whatever, and
And
it poofs for you.
yeah, it happens every time for her. It's Anmol. Actually, it's Anmol.
Oh,
And
is it on most?
yeah, she asked for things. She tells me, she kind of like lets me know, okay, Sandra, this is what I'm asking for. She has to kind of let me know. And then it happens. Then she manifests. But her way of doing it is to like have a
Is to tell
conversation with
you.
me. Yeah. And then
Sanjula's the messenger.
yeah.
I love that though. I love that because that makes it so easy.
Hmm.
It's just, oh, I just have to tell Sanjula what I want and it's going to
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah.
There's that permission slip again, you're her
Exactly.
permission slip to
Yeah.
have all those wonderful things.
So all of us have all these different permission slips. So even these tools that we play with, like that took a while to understand. Kristen, like when I shared with you and I learned all these manifestation tricks and hacks and all these things, I did everything and it didn't work. It felt good to
Yeah.
a certain extent till it started feeling like a homework or like an assignment that you have to do. And it would just
Sure.
cause like a
Yeah.
chore and it just causes more anxiety because you're not feeling it and it feels like, am I doing it right or not? Even that the feeling of, am I vibrating high enough? Am I feeling good enough? That's another thing Anmol and I discuss a lot because then that's another aspect which just, you're doubting yourself. Am I feeling good enough? Vibrating high enough to manifest the desires that I want to manifest? So that adds another layer of jumping through hoops. Like, what do I need to do? And when you are in that space of that creator of that I decide, I'm the decision maker, I'm the reality creator, I'm the manifester, then affirmations is just what you're speaking, the
Yeah.
truth that you're speaking of this reality that you're creating. It's not something that you're trying to manifest out of somewhere else. Affirmations is basically what you're speaking. Visualization is something that you are just seeing that this is the reality that I am agreeing to. This is the reality I'm creating. It's not an exercise that you have that, okay, I must visualize. It is what you see, what you believe, what is in your mind. It's just like all these things is it's we make it an exercise, but it's what we do as a creator, as a manifestor, all the time.
I love it. I love that you're turning what can be called a tool on, and you're just like,
Yeah,
no, this is just normal. This is because we do it. When
we do
we're
it.
remembering our memories or whatever, that's exactly what we're doing. We're visualizing, when we're telling somebody, oh yeah, I have a doctor's appointment today, that, we can call that an intention, but it's like, no, it's just fact.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so turning all your intentions into, no, this is just fact. This is
Hmm.
just fact. And and my biggest thing I've been doing recently is just, and you said it during your workshop, is you always bring it back to you. You always bring it back to you. Always. You just, because it all originates from you. And, so many times if my mind is out there, it's
Mm.
there's a seeking, there's almost a
Mm.
seeking space when my mind is out there thinking about the future or thinking about this or that. And it was so funny, I was watching, I think I brought it up to you, the Big Bang Theory. I think you'd really like it because it's, they're taking the fascinating field of quantum and all of this,
Mm.
but they're making it science and they're getting paid to do it, and I'm like, hey, I could do that. um but there's, when you're looking out, you're looking at universes. If we're going out, here's your solar system and here's all the planets in your solar system, and then beyond our solar system is the universe, and then beyond the universes, and you just keep going out, out, out. There's always this
Mm.
seeking for the next thing.
Mm.
And you do the same thing when you're trying to find a teacher. It's like, oh, here's my guru, here's my teacher. It's like, yeah, but somebody taught that
Mm.
teacher, and then
Yeah.
somebody taught that teacher, and then
Yeah.
somebody taught that teacher, and then some, and you could just keep going, trying to find the original source, da da da, when just look in the mirror,
Yeah.
here's the original source. It's right here. It's the easiest space. It's the most immediate space. It's a space that's always available. It's never a feeling around or a seeking. You don't ever have to seek for yourself.
Yeah. You're right here.
You're right
You're
here, and
right.
you're always right here, because there's times where I'm like going, "Ooh, I had this brilliant thought this morning. What was it?" And it's like, no, stop. It's right here, just it's
Yeah.
always just bringing it back to you. And so
Mm,
anytime you're in a space of, or anytime I'm in a space of what, where I'm pondering or I'm trying to figure something
mm,
out or something, I stop and I'm like, okay, bring it back to you, because this is always right
mm.
here.
Yeah.
This is this space, and all the answers are always right here. And the teacher, the source is always right here. It's just so simple. It's so easy. And it's just of all the things in our reality, it is the simplest.
Mhm.
And it's just always available. It's never not available for you. Never.
I remember when we were discussing this a long time ago, where I would say that I wish I had. There was a part of me that used to say, I wish I had someone like me in my life. I wish I had a Sanjula, like Anmol
Yes,
has Sanjula. I wish I. And then we were like, wait, I'm with me all the time. I am there for me. You're there for yourself
I
all the
know.
time. We're here for ourselves, and we get to be that amazing, brilliant person. Like we were talking about also channeling with like even Abraham and Esther that we talk about. I do believe that it's her own brilliance. I do believe that what we call channeling is just our own brilliance. That's the part of us that believes that, okay, there's a purer version of, just pure or what a more knowing, all knowing, wiser version. And we give it that permission, but it's still us. It's still us playing with that. The knowledge is still
It's the
coming through
permission
us.
slips,
Yeah.
but I love, and you know what, that's what I loved the most about you when I very very first met you, as the natural, the
Hmm.
pure version. This is just your natural, that's your natural state. That
Yeah.
is who you are naturally. And all this crap we're piling on, I think we were talking about weight, and all this weight, and oh, these foods are bad for me, and that's
Mm,
not your natural pure state. Your natural pure state is like when you were little. When you were little, you didn't understand that you could be fat or unattractive or anything like that. There was none of that. That just didn't exist. And there's your pure natural state right there. And that child, like, yeah. Anyway, go
I
on.
love that. No, I was just thinking, but again, we can always go back to that. A lot of people are like, oh, childhood days were the best, or the college days were the best, or when we were younger was the best. In our workshop, this conversation was happening
No,
while I'm getting older.
I know.
And
No,
you and Melanie were like, what?
ageless. I know, that was so
Exactly.
funny. Okay, so you guys that are listening, in her, Jesus, I was like, you're what, 28 and you think you're old? So definitely Indians have a much different mindset and all of that.
Yeah.
You got to be married, you got to,
Yeah.
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 And, if you're 24 and you're not married yet, holy cow, you are old. And then the two people in the whole workshop that weren't Indian, are both of us are sitting there going, what? Melanie's like, what, 68, and I'm 57, and we're both going, what you old, what are you talking about?
Exactly. And it's also like it's a state of mind that anyone
Such
can
a
have
state
at
of mind.
any. Because I feel like when you're talking about as when you're kids, you have so much energy. I was just talking to my brother. We were thinking, looking back at some photo albums, and just going back in time, and we were just talking about how he would come back from school when he was, I don't know, 7 or 8, and then he would still have so much energy that he would just run his bike around the house the entire time, and then have lunch and then go play with his friends. I was like it just I kind of try to understand, my God, you had the energy of the entire day to be in the school and then come back and spend that extra energy for you. You didn't know what to do with the energy, we just run around the house. But that's when we don't think of those things as kids. We used to not think about anything. Like, oh my God, I'm tired. I don't have energy, or I can't do these things that I. Those are just thoughts that we have in our mind, and we can always change those states. Again, we can always decide, and it's such an invitation to can you play that bold? Can you play that, be that powerful? Can you be like, I am going to create my own rules. I don't care what anyone else has said. I don't care what anyone has decided. I'm going to play by my rules. And then things start becoming true to that. Like, your reality becomes that.
It really does. Isn't that, it is like when I was digging out my snow tunnel and stuff, 6 hours went by and I
Yeah.
didn't stop to get food or drinking or anything. I was kind of like having fun because the snow was soft and it was falling away, and I'm, scoop it up and toss it. And there's at one point I'm like going, I should be tired.
And that's when you are doing
Yeah,
that to yourself,
yeah, I know.
right?
And people seeing the picture and stuff going, oh my God, how did you do that? Did you have a snowblower? And it's like, no, it's just me and my shovel. And they're just, and they were just so blown away by it. And I'm just like going, yeah, I guess I should have been blown away. You're not going to, in like when I was in my 20s, I don't picture a 57-year-old grandma out there
Yeah.
shoveling like that. But I always say I'm ageless. I'm not,
Yeah.
and half the time I don't know how old I am. When people are like, how old are you? I'm like, wait, let me think. Hold on.
Yeah.
I got to think about that. In fact, I'm not even 57. I'm 56. And
Yeah.
I caught myself saying that in your workshop, that I was 57. And I'm like going, wait a minute. No, I'm not. Wait, yes, I am. And I had to Google it. I'm like, hey, I'm not going to say the word out loud because she'll come on, right? No way. But
Yeah,
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 I had to go, hey, SIRI, what is 2023 minus 1966? And I'm like, oh, I'm not 57. Okay. But
yeah.
and that's exactly it, is saying I'm ageless, saying,
Mhm.
the whole word of beautiful is it's like I see beautiful everywhere out there and I am in awe. And then I realize that beautiful scenery I'm seeing is not feeling my awe. The only thing
Mm.
feeling my wow is me.
Mhm. So
Yeah.
nice. That's
I'm
so
the only
nice.
one feeling it. I'm the only one feeling I'm ugly, you
Mm.
know, or that's ugly or that's bad or whatever. Nothing out there is feeling what I'm feeling but me.
Mhm.
Yeah. So when I sit there and am, looking at this gorgeous snow covered scenery, and I'm just like going, holy cow, that is amazing. That's gorgeous. I realize in that moment, I'm the only one that gets to feel that. So I'm definitely feeling that about me. And to
Yeah.
accept that, to allow that, to receive it is
To
like,
receive it, yeah.
wow. Yeah.
Broke my brain a little bit. You know that look
Yeah.
going on there.
It's like, yeah, keep talking. I'm back here thinking about this.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
it
because
is so true. And
true
that was
feeling.
something I said long time ago. I wrote a whole thing on that about how, you're talking to your loved one and you're telling them how much you adore
Mm.
them or whatever. They can't feel that. They can't feel it. They can receive your words and stuff, but they're not feeling what you're trying to gush out, right? Oh, you're the only one that is the receiver of that. You are the only one. And like you and your flowers, you found that flower and you were just like, wow. And you're
Yeah.
feeling all this love and adoration and wow about that flower, but that flower is not receiving that. You are.
Yeah.
And it's just like, wow, it's
I
such a
love that.
fun, isn't it? Just, it's such a fun world. Wow, this is typical of Sanjula and I to go on for 90 minutes.
Yeah, oh my
Eh,
God.
we
It's like
just,
we're just getting started.
I
It
know,
really feels
really,
like
we're
we're
just
just getting
warming
started.
up.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Oh,
Hmm.
but I love that. And definitely, for everybody who's watching, I am gonna have to shut this down for a second. But I don't have to. I'm the operant power here. This can just go on and on and on and on. But we'll have Sanjula back for sure, because I'll tell you, of all the guests that I do have, Sanjula's most on level with me. And I love that. I love that she breaks my brain and vice versa. She called that the table tennis. And this is what I love, is that manifestation. And that's why I call it manifestation, real talk,
Real
not
talk.
the
Hmm.
crap talk. let's
Yeah.
let's jump over the crap talk. And it's just easy. It really, it's so easy. You can't even comprehend. You just can't comprehend. But I do love when you have the aha of the, oh,
Mhm.
this is just waiting for my permission.
Yeah.
I love that, and like you said, it with Thomas, that yeah, Thomas could have done all that, but you were gonna have fun being a part of
Yeah.
that. You were gonna have so much fun, and and it was the best story.
Because it's my creation. Like I totally own it. It's my creation. So it wasn't just a desire that wouldn't it be nice or something. This is something that I molded into my reality. I created this in my reality. So I had to be involved. And the moment I had that, that idea that, oh, I have to be there. I see it. I see that this is how it's going to be. Okay, let's look into, where are the opportunities? Where do we want to stay and where do we want to be? And there's just like this whole new world that expanded for me because this is expanding into where do I want to be? How do I want to live my life? Because this is my life as well that we are, kind of creating together. And that's what I'm playing a lot with now, that deciding, as I said, though, this is a new chapter in my life and it's a whole new thing that I'm expanding into. And I get to decide, I get to define, I get to be the person. And I love when you said that you are the one who's feeling those things. So when you look at your environment, when you look at the things around you, which you appreciate, which you want, it's just you feeling those things. So I really like that new thing to play with, that I'm feeling, I get to feel that. And so that's what is yeah, that's what I'm creating next. That's what is my new expansion. And I love that so just yesterday I think Thomas had this reminder on his phone that it's a Google Photos. It kind of gives a reminder of the photos that you've taken a couple of years ago. And only six
Oh
years
yeah,
ago, right?
I have that too. Yeah.
So 6 years ago to that day yesterday, it was the first time he met my parents. Because so far it was a long
Wow.
distance and my parents knew about him, but that was the first time, and it was such a big deal for me because I was like, oh, he's getting to meet my parents, and it's a whole thing in India. And we have this photo where all of us are standing with standing apart with our hands in front. I'll show you the photo. It's so funny because it's like so formal. The first time we're meeting, we're in some garden in the army area. In fact, that's the first time we met. And it's just looking back at the span of 6 years, it might feel long, it might feel small, it feels really small for me that I concluded this really big chapter of my life, that there were strong desires and all of them manifested and it's all done. I was feeling so proud of myself, like I created that. I created that. I get to create all these amazing things. And now it's like, where am I going to be? Again, time space doesn't exist, but still, where am I going to be in 6 years from now? Who am I going to be? What's going to be that expansion like? The things that I believe are crazy, which I did, a lot of things that I believe were crazy 6 years ago would already be done. And I would be looking back at them and being like, wow, I did that. And that's now so small. And now on to the next thing. So yeah, like I just am very happy with my own creations, with my own power and my own manifestations. And I love to help other people do that. I enjoy
Yeah,
that so
and you do
much.
it so well. You do it so
Thank,
well. You do it so
thank you.
easily. There's just, yeah, like the use of storyboards. I love the use of storyboards because it's so wide open to how big you get to go.
Yeah.
You get to find pictures that are just like, you feel like this picture is so far outside of you, a picture of a mansion or whatever, and you could feel like it's so bigger, but when you put it on that storyboard, you just, like I said, you get to, I sent her the pictures of all this first class flying, premier first class flying. I mean, you have your
Mm.
own cute little suite, it's not just a seat next to somebody else. You have your own suite. And, and it's looking at that picture and feeling yourself in that
Mm.
space.
Mm.
I
Love
know.
that.
And you can literally feel yourself sitting in that space and looking around and just going, "Oh my God, this is so much fun." And I love that about storyboards. I never used to like storyboards at all
Oh,
until
nice.
I know. And now that I found an app where and you can use your own pictures, or they use Upsplash pictures, and you just get to pull in so much. And every day you can change it around if you want,
Yeah.
whereas if you make one where you've cut things out and you've pasted them on, you don't get to change it around. This one you get to change. And but I love that big sigh you just had. I
Yeah.
I love that space of just be like you when you're walking around, and you and your mom. I love that story of you and your mom just
Yeah.
kind of going off. You can totally imagine you having your wedding
Yeah.
there. You just
Yeah.
it was literally moving into the space of, I already did it. I already did it. I can remember myself doing it. And
Exactly.
that's what looking at these pictures is like. It's like it feels like a memory. It
Mm-hmm.
does.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I just going back to that one vision board that I created in 2019, I still have that physical chartboard, and it's right here. I'll show you later. But there was a part of me that didn't believe, and that was back in 2019, where I wanted this trip with my family to Germany, and I had put all these, and we were using whatever was available. We had these magazines, we had these newspapers, and I wanted to put the idea of my family having a really good, comfortable trip in Germany, which at that point I didn't believe anymore, because I thought, oh, now it's too late. This might not happen, because I thought it's going to happen in summer, but it eventually happened in the winter, which was even more beautiful because we were there for Christmas. But the things that I put in there, Europe and Germany and beer and comfortable stays, travel, and there was a part of it which I had written sweet stays. So it was like a hotel sweet stay. So the idea behind that at that time was that I just want my family to have a really good, comfortable time. And the entire plan was anyway to stay with Thomas's family. So all of that manifested. But now I look back at it, just when we did this vision board exercise, I did get to stay in a suite. I did get to stay in a five-star hotel for 2 months, where we had our own suite. And in addition to that, we had another room. So, and there's like a door in between that you can open, which was not open for, I don't know, since when. So when we shifted into that hotel, so this was a temporary accommodation that was provided for us before we found our own apartment. So the hotel staff, they came up with this huge bunch of keys. Like, we have never opened this because people only book that one suite, but we have for two people this suite in addition to another room. And I just looked back at that, that I manifested that luxury of being in this five-star hotel, suite stays for 2 months, where we had our own private terrace, and we had like this amazing breakfast buffet every day, like staying, having this staff at our beck and call, cleaning the rooms, doing everything. I was like, oh, wait a second, I have this on my vision board and I manifested this. And that is amazing. Like, it's just, it was a
Isn't it?
fun thing there. And it found its space in my reality where it made sense. One last thing, I really want to put that as well, because we attach a lot of things on when something should happen. That I really want this right now. I really want this specific thing right now. But it's really about, again, the fun and how much we're going to enjoy it and savor it. And if it, it finds its space in our life when we have the capacity to enjoy it, not the worthiness or something, when we have the space to enjoy it, like your palate, like you don't want to eat, again, as Abraham said, you don't want to eat everything that you'll ever have in your life today. You want to enjoy the pasta, and then you want to enjoy the tiramisu later, but you don't want to have the pasta and the burger and the pizza and everything at the same time, because you want everything. No, you want it to have its own space that you get to enjoy, you get to savor it completely, and then you have the next thing that you want to play with. So that thing that I realized that I put there, the sweet stays, was for me in that moment was really about, I didn't even know actually what like sweet stays would mean. For me, it was like my family has to go to Europe and we're going to have a great time and have really comfortable stays. And now it was in the space of really expanding into our level of abundance, into the kind of lifestyle that I want to have. And here it kind of had that full circle moment where I was like, oh, wait a second, I put that there. I had put scuba diving there as well, but I wasn't something like I have to do it something. I really like the picture on the in the newspaper, and I put scuba diving back in 2019. And now in 21, end of 21, I got to do scuba diving. It wasn't even like a bucket list thing or something. It was a fun thing. And it did play out when it just perfectly made sense. That I was so amazed with that experience. I enjoyed it so much. completely like a delectable, delicious dish at the right time. So yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love that. That was beautiful. Drop the mic on that. Holy cow. Yeah, because we get so caught up in I need this and I gotta have it now. Like me going to your wedding, it's like
Yeah.
I gotta figure out how I'm gonna get to Germany. Oh my God, I don't know. And it's I love that you're just like, whenever it happens, it's gonna
Whenever it
happen whenever it
happens.
happens. And I realized that I said this during the workshop. I said it's really not about going to Germany. I give a rat's ass about going to Germany. I just want to see Sanjula. I just want to hug her and squish her and
And
just play with you, in
yeah.
this reality. And yeah, so that's going to, and we do get, I know that space of, oh, I only have a limited amount of time on this earth. I've got to get this done before I pass away. And it's like, but what if there is no passing away? What if
Mm,
this is it right here? This is
mm.
everything right here. You never ever leave this. What if you're always here? And so you've always get all sorts of experiences. You get to experience being old, you get to experience being young, you get to experience going here and there and there, and it's all here. You don't pass away. There is no death. Let
Mm.
that go. Let that go, that there's going to be an expiration date. Otherwise, you will manifest that experience, and that's just going to be another experience you're going to fit into
Yeah.
here. And it's so fun to not have that time constraint anymore.
Hmm. I love you
Ah,
so much, Kristen. I love you so much. And it's all me feeling it right now. I
I
love you so
know.
much. I don't know how much you're receiving, and I love you so much. Oh my God. And that's what, when you said, when that's one thing I really do also in the workshop. I try to ask people to really boil it down to what do you really want? Like you
Yeah.
say you want this, but what do you really, really want? And what if it's about you coming here in India and staying with us right here in this room? Because there's this extra room, and then we get to play so much. The
I
things we do,
know.
Kristen.
I know. Sanjula showed me her extra room, and I was like, oh, there's my room. That's my
That's the
room.
first thing she said when I was giving her a tour of the house. She was like, "Oh, you have
There's
a
my
room? Okay, I'm gonna be
room.
there."
I'm on my way. And
Exactly.
yeah, and it is so wonderful when you remove that time constraint, because now it's like, oh, I get to do it all. I get to
Yeah,
do it all. And then, boy, all starts becoming small because there's so much more.
so much to do. Exactly, exactly.
Yeah, and it just becomes bigger, bigger. I do love that. I know,
I
and
love.
now India is definitely a place I've always wanted to see. Germany, no.
Mhm.
India, yeah.
Yeah,
There's places
exactly.
all over Europe that I just all over on the other side of the world that I just want to see. And there's places in Europe I want to see. There's places in China I want to see. There's all these different places I want to see. And yeah, and so I love that it's gonna fit in
It's
when the
gonna
time
fit
is
in.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, life feels good when you have the appetite for it. Like right now, you're having a really good time with all the snow there. You're enjoying
I am.
so
I
much.
am. I was actually really disappointed when it started melting. We're laughing because California right now is like buried, especially right now. Northern California is getting seriously buried. We're seeing amounts of snow that we just haven't seen in 20 plus years. And, I'm having a great time.
Yeah.
I'm strapping on my snowshoes and I'm heading out and I'm sinking. The whole time, you sink and you fall and you're like, but it's actually fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's that little kid part of you that's just giggling, and I'm not cold. I'm not inconvenienced. Every step is sink, pull that foot out, another step sink, pull that
Think.
foot out. And you even get onto the point where you're crawling because it's like, okay, I'm
Yeah.
tired of sinking. I'm just going to crawl along here. Anybody seeing this? Whatever. But it really, like right now, I'm just looking out these windows and I don't normally see this much snow. And
Mhm.
so, yeah, this last week when the weather's gotten warmer and stuff, there's this part of me going, No.
Oh.
I don't want it to go away yet, but we've got more rain coming, maybe more snow. We'll see. But
Really? Yes.
I know, and it really is. Yeah, I'm having fun, and I
Fun.
feel guilty that I'm having fun when other people are like, catastrophe, we're in a crisis situation, and I'm just like,
And that's so amazing. Like in the workshop also, we all these amazing people, and we didn't know about this, and we got to know, we heard it first from you. And then one of them was like, "Oh, actually, I don't watch news." And we were like, "We just got the news because it's again what we know to be true, and what you're telling us that's true. That's the news. That
yeah,
is the truth."
yeah.
And someone else who believes in whatever they believe in and whatever difficulty and struggle and everything they want to believe in, they will have that source of news. And we had Kristen telling us how much fun it is. And how she's gonna have fun with all of that. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was thinking about that once, that I wanted to start my own news broadcast, but it would be like the worldwide, what was it? Worldwide fun news or something like that. And it's just always good news, always the good
Yeah.
news. Seeing the great things. Cause like I was telling Sanjula before we started this, people are if you watch the news on TV about what's happening here where I live, of course there's this sensationalizing of, they had
Mm.
one woman was walking next to her neighbor's house, but she's literally walking on the roof, and she's crying, and she's like,
Oh,
they're in there. And I'm like going, yeah, and they have electricity, and they have heat, and they've got food, and they're fine
yeah.
in there. Yeah, you can't see them, but they're fine. What are you crying for? Don't put the crying lady on here. Put me on there, and I'll tell you how much fun
Exactly.
it is.
And just before we had this conversation, like we started the recording, you said that the people who were out there to dig out and the people who were there to rescue, when they dug through someone's house and they opened the door, they were having lunch. They
You
were
were
just
having
having
lunch
their
and watching TV.
no one was struggling. They were just like, "Oh, hey, you did this for us.
Yeah,
Thanks."
hey, thank
And that
you.
is equally true. And that is equally true.
Yeah.
That is the news that is also happening. You should
Yeah.
start it. I
I
want to broadcast
know, I know. I even had the name too and everything. It was the WW something something, and I'm like, just like going,
it.
oh, that would have been so good. Because it's
Yeah.
true. And everywhere I went, that's all I saw, was everybody was fine.
Mhm.
There was, in fact, when people are calling me or reaching out online to me going, are you okay? I'm like, yes, I'm fine. I'm fine. I was out in my snowshoes. I never get to use my snowshoes. I was so excited to use my snowshoes.
There was a time after the workshop, like a couple of days, we were not in touch, or you didn't say anything on the workshop group or something. So I was like, should I reach out to her and ask her? But then I was like, yeah, she's fine. I
Yeah,
know Kristen is fine.
yeah,
And
we
then
did have the internet.
I saw your YouTube thumbnail, which was like, I am super happy, or I am something in terms of I am happy, or I am
Yeah.
happiness, something like that. I was like, yeah, that's Kristen. Yeah, I know she's fine. All is good.
Yeah. 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 It really, I mean, one of the guys that's been helping the most with me here, just helping people out and stuff. And again, all these people I've dug out, all these things I've done, I've never found one person suffering. I haven't,
Yeah.
never found anybody suffering. They've been buried under their house for X amount of days, and they're fine. But so he's like, I'm going skiing. So he was put his backpack on, strapped his skis to his backpack, and climbed up the mountain, and he skied down. And I'm like
Wow.
going, exactly, people are like, oh, catastrophe. And I'm like going, where? Where's this catastrophe? And I mean, it's exciting that, we're getting, National
Yeah.
Guard, and they're flying in food and everything. But it's so funny because all that food's sitting there because everybody's fine. Nobody needs anything. Literally yesterday I was telling Sanjula, I was just loading up my car full of food and driving around, and everybody's like, I don't need any, I'm fine. I'm like, I don't care, take it. Take it. It's just take it. Yeah. Yeah, it really, your state of mind, your inner conversations, when you're not trying to force them, I mean,
Mhm,
yeah, you
mhm.
can force
Yeah.
it. You can sit there and play that game too. That's fine. But again, Sanjula said fun,
Mm,
it's the
fun.
fun. You know, what's fun? What is fun right now? Fun isn't getting up and meditating, then flipping, don't do it.
Yeah.
You know, get it, strap on some snowshoes and go play. Like this morning, you know, I've got that cat under my deck, and
Yeah.
I go out there to just check, and because the raccoons came last night, and I go out there and she's meow meow, and I'm like, oh yeah, I gotta feed you. I forgot about you. You know, that totally lit up my morning, hearing her little meow meows, and it was so
Mm.
simple, it's so easy, but it's like, oh, that's right, I got good food for you. I have
Yeah.
such an abundance of food. All the food they flew in and stuff, they flew a bunch of cat food in too, and nobody was
Oh.
taking it, so I loaded up. I'm like, girl, you got food till freaking 2024. You're good. But
Wow.
anyway, I do, you're going to stay because you and I are going to chat afterward. But I want to thank everybody who came. Please give Sanjula and I some comments. What did you get out of this, if anything? Or maybe you had your own brilliant ahas
Mhm.
from playing with us, and let us know. And I'll put all of Sanjula's contact information down below, because you couldn't find, and yeah, you cannot find a better coach. And don't forget, she's the messenger. she'll,
Yeah. Hit me
she'll get,
up. What do you want?
if you have your desires, she poofs her magic wand and it's
It's
done.
right there.
Yeah,
It's done.
easy.
It's done. Oh, thank you so much for joining. Thank you for having me here. I'm so happy to have that real talk with you, Kristen, anytime. And whoever's watching, please let us know what
Yeah.
clicked for you, what was fun for you. I'm so excited to look. I'm looking forward to that.
Yes.